all you beautiful people out there. I am Mrs. Realistic. Welcome back to the channel. Oliver Anthony has gotten a lot of attention for his song Richmond, North of Richmond, and I have been urged to cover some of the remixes. Chris Webby has done one, and Dax has done one, and I'm sure there's many others who have done them, but these are two that I have been given a little nudge to check out. So let's see what Dax has done with Oliver Anthony's Richmond, North of Richmond.
It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. The Richmond, North of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control.
This world has changed and I had to accept it. They ask my political views while I search for their hidden agendas. I don't got an answer, I try to remember the devil divides. Pressure appears from our peers. Those arguments waste our time while helping to push their lies, so fuck political views. I got common sense. I know God made man, and the sun sets on a life where we focus on things that we cannot control and accumulate so much regret. By the time we decide to live, we're practically already dead. So I go to sleep with the thoughts of 45 years living in debt, 45 years can't pay rent, 45 years just for a pension I'm too old to enjoy and go spend, 45 years working and slaving for rich men with no time for my family and friends. Then I'll wake up and pray that it ends.
Living in the new world.
I didn't think that was going to hit this hard. You know, he's so right that the whole political divide is really just meant to divide us because, as I've said before, it's two wings on the same bird. Whatever changes. The only changes that seem to happen are negative. He's so right. You slave away for 45 years and then you're too old to enjoy that little tiny pension, that little tiny social security check that you get when it's supposed to be your golden years and you're supposed to be enjoying everything. And maybe by that time you've worked too hard and your body is too broken to even use any of that money to go do anything. Or maybe that money's not even enough to cover your mortgage anymore, because this is what's happening now with inflation, with the rising cost of housing and property taxes, especially out here in central Texas. I know people who have had to sell their family homes and move into, little one-bedroom apartments. The entire system is screwed up because it doesn't serve any of us average people. And sometimes it makes me so angry, and I'm sure it makes him angry. He's my Canadian brother, and I don't know if he lives part of his time in the States. I think he's in California a lot, which is kind of the den of inequity at this point. It's so maddening, and you feel like you're completely out of control and there's no way of changing it. Just having had such a huge, scary impact in our life when my husband was in the hospital and I didn't know if he was going to make it. And then, thank goodness, he pulls through. Whether it was because of what they did in the hospital or whether his body just recovered, we don't really know because we don't have any answers. And then those medical bills start rolling in, and you've gone from working really hard to live a life with no debt to all of a sudden being saddled with debt you will never be able to pay off. Are we really the problem? The tiny people who have been paying our taxes for our entire life, are we really the problem that we're not able to pay back this debilitating medical debt? Even people with insurance get saddled with this kind of debt. So without rambling on too much as I do, it's a scary position to be in, to be somebody who lives paycheck to paycheck, because at any time they can pull a punch and the life that you knew is over. And it's absolutely maddening, and it makes you enraged as a good little citizen who's been trying to do the right thing for so many years, and then the rug gets pulled out from under you.
My family and friends, then I'll wake up and pray that it ends.
Living in the new world with an whole soul. The Richmond, North of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control.
descendants of Adam and Eve. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. They're taking God out the schools. Our kids don't know what to believe. From 6 to 18, the curriculum fails, and Gen Z gets taught by their phones with forced feeds that get sponsored and paid by companies. That's how they attack us. It starts with the youth. If you lie enough, you'll convince anybody the lie's the truth. So telling these kids they can choose their own gender at ages they can't even tie their own shoes. Drive or drink is crazy. Common sense isn't common unless it pays me. That's the thought process daily. Look at the content we're creating, lies diluting our brains. I'm done trying to argue online with these people who think that a vote's gonna bring about change. How many presidents does it take to have a life worth living? An actual comfortable wage. No more school shootings. Let's unite these states.
It's a damn shame. What?
Man, Dax, you know how to hit hard. This is why we homeschool. Because the things that are taught to our children, and I see it so often, these little tiny babies on screens at restaurants and stuff because their parents just don't want to deal with them. And what are your children learning? Do you know what your children have access to? Our 15-year-old's phone doesn't even have internet access because it is such a scary world out there now online, and predators know exactly how to get in there. And then not to mention the algorithms that people like Zuckerberg have admitted to using to make this more addictive. And you're feeding, they call it the feed, right? You're feeding your mind with this trash. Trash in, trash out. It's sickening, the things that you see online that are eroding these children's minds, and they're growing up with no understanding of real value, of real worth, of what they are really worth. It makes me so sad to see these children living such an opposite life of the way I grew up, of going out and riding my bike around my tiny little town all day because I could do that safely. But where we live, that's not even an option. It's not even remotely an option. So people make fun of me about being a helicopter parent, and it's like, we get one chance and we can never go back and say I should have. By that point, it's too late. And so yes, I will protect my children until they are old enough to protect themselves. This is one of the reasons why I will never put them in public school. It's absolutely sickening at this point, the things that they're allowing and the things that they're teaching children.
No more school shootings. Let's unite these states.
It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me and people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is. Living in the new world with an old soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just want to have total control.
That was beautiful, Dax. Beautiful. What a wonderful way to remix this song with that lovely melody that Oliver Anthony started. And this has kind of been like a catalyst for so many different things. And I think it's really waking people up to the disparities, the real disparities in the way that we are forced to live and the way that these rich men north of Richmond, Republican or Democrat, are able to live in the lap of luxury off the backs of us little taxpayers. You know, we're seeing it now happen in Maui, $700 one-time payment, and they've lost everything. It's absolutely disgusting, and it's a spit in the face to those people. And yet we accidentally sent $6 billion to Ukraine. They didn't even know that they had sent it. That's just $6 billion. Oh well, we just lost it. $5 billion could rebuild everybody's house in Lahaina. And so it just goes to show you where the priorities are. They've turned it into legalized money laundering. The rich get richer and the poor stay poor. And in this case, the poor are getting poorer. Thank you, Dax, for putting some more wonderful lyrics into an already meaningful song. I think it's important for all voices to be heard in this climate that we're in right now, because things are changing and they're not changing for the better, and we need to start standing up and voicing the opinion of we the people again. We need to do it in Canada as well. We need to do it worldwide. No matter where you live, these politicians are supposed to work for us. And instead, we are working for them. And that's really sad to have to look at it that way, but that's the way it feels when you work so hard and feel like you're just on that hamster wheel. So thank you for tuning in to watch me cry like a baby again. I appreciate every one of you so much. Have a wonderful day, and as I always say, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.